Oh, I'm never ready for this YouTube live feeds, man. All right, so what's up, guys? I'm getting ready. I just started stippling this guy, but figured it's a good opportunity to some updated information on the stippling stuff. Turn this camera around and show you guys what's going down over here. There you go. So, oh, you know what? We'll do this. There you go. Got the camera set up. Zoom a little bit. Taco iron right over here, and I'm running it at about, let's see, it's at about 900 degrees right now. I've already cut out my borders. I've kind of leveled out the transition between the border and the rest of the frame, the grip area. And now I'm gonna be adding the texture. So this is my Freddy Krueger face texture, and you guys can watch it all go down right here. So it's a simple texture to apply for the most part. It's keeping a random pattern going, and I'm just letting the iron kind of sit into the polymer, melt it, displace it, and then I'm moving it around in a random pattern again. I gotta do more of these YouTube live things. I'm so not accustomed to doing YouTube lives. It's not the first thing I think of. I'm on Instagram so much, so get into the channel to do stuff, believe it or not. Important tip to keep this the tip of your iron actually clean while you're doing your work. You don't want to be having all this built up burnt polymer all over it while you're melting. So periodically you're going to want to stick it into some steel wool or mesh and get cleaned up. While doing this is important to the amount of melt and the amount of displacement. The pace and the pressure are both directly related to how your texture is going to come out. Another thing that you want to keep in mind is the angle of approach. So if you're burning with the iron sideways, or if you're heading straight into it, these are all going to make changes in your eventual texture, the eventual stippling that you're going to put onto the gun. I go at probably like a 30-degree angle of approach, typically, and that's just where my hand is comfortable. So I apologize if I'm not answering any questions or addressing the chat right now. I have the camera down and I'm actually just focusing on getting this done. So I will get to questions and comments when you guys see my face in the camera. This is a good time to ask. That means I'm looking at it. I try my best not to butt the iron up the borders that I've worked hard to cut straight and clean. So I will work my way up to them, but try my best not to butt into them. That always. All right, we're going back. Let's turn this camera on. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what's going down with my live feed here. What you guys read about there? Freddy Krueger is a great carry texture on good performing texture. Where it falls short most of the time that I've noticed anyway is in the looks department. A lot of people are not, too taken by it's not a flashy looking texture. So a lot of times I'll get requests for stuff like my Heavenly Petals texture, which I'll show you guys. Something like this texture, or my new texture Jaws, which looks like this. And this stuff, Jaws is super grippy, super grippy. Heavenly Petals is actually a really nice carry texture as well. But I do get, the majority of my requests from, guys who want to kind of like pretty up their guns is Heavenly Petals. Um, but make no mistake about it. Every texture that I offer was picked out. I've tried a whole bunch of different ones, and these were the ones that I settled on, and these to offer for a multitude to keep in consideration. People are carrying these guns and they're rubbing up against their stomachs and stuff like that, or their hips. Number two, the appearance is absolutely a consideration. And then number three, the durability of the textures, whether they're going to be able to withstand a lot of beating. And Freddy Krueger face is one of those textures that can really handle a beating really well. A lot of the guys that I build comp guns for, or the instructors that I build for, all of them prefer Freddy Krueger face. Not the prettiest texture, but it's definitely one of the most effective, no nonsense textures. It's considered in the industry. It's considered a drag texture, which means I'm not lifting the tip of the iron very much. I'm just kind of dragging it around this guy, and the drag textures are nice and durable. What you don't want a real fine texture that'll collapse. You also don't want a texture that really doesn't a Stippling, which is to increase your grip coefficient. Texture that you're applying, and it looks really cool, and it offered no improvement in grip or even a detriment. Then it's kind of defeating the whole point to me. Everything that kind of rooted in function. Function is absolutely our first consideration. I believe that you can make something work well and look good at the same time. So, we try to follow through, with that philosophy. Backstraps are always a little bit more difficult, and you can see I'm like really free handing this right now. A lot of times for backstraps, I'll elevate the frame slightly, and then drop my down or my approach a little bit different. One of the things that I'm careful to do as well when I'm doing my stippling is not to stop on this line right here. Stipple this area and then stipple and stop. When I'm stippling, I'll try and make sure I have like a sharp ridge in the gun where the two sections that I'm stippling meet up. And I've felt guns before that have I could tell where the guys were, the I guess the imaginary borders that they're working with and where they stopped and started. And it's not for me, going around the corners is a very important part of keeping the comfort, the ergonomics of the stippling job in check. So I don't know how big a deal that is to anybody else, or if you felt frames that felt like that, but that's one of the things that I keep in mind as I'm doing my stippling, that I don't stop melting at the corner. For those of you guys that are joining now and didn't get to see the earlier part, I'm burning at about 900 degrees. And I'm applying a texture called Freddy Krueger face, which is a drag texture. Really good for training guns, carry guns, and anything. It's one of the most versatile textures that I got. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys real quick how I finish off this texture. So I might not. I'm going to take a small sanding drum and I'm going to grind down this texture just slightly. So if you look at this texture up close, oh, let me see. Not in the camera. Look at this texture up close. There's some high spots where the polymer was still sticking to the iron, lifted up. There's some little sharp points. So what I'm going to do right now is just make it more consistent. Take my grinding stone and I'm going to kind of level out all of the texture. What I want at the end is to result from the result that I'm looking for out of this is to get the texture that I've just applied nice and even all over the entire grip surface. Now, grinding down too much will definitely make your texture not as grippy, so it's something to keep in mind. You'll see it gets a little dusty. And then I gotta torch it. So I'm gonna take this butane torch. I'm gonna apply a little bit of heat and get that melt going on that portion of the polymer that I just ground down. And that's what you're looking at right there. Let's see if we can get that to focus. There you go. Nice and even. Nice even texture. And this will be nice and grippy, but it won't be overbearing. And that's kind of one of the most exceptional things about this texture. So let's see, let's turn this guy around and over here with the camera. All right, so here you go, guys. That is putting the stipple down on this Archon Type B. I got a bunch of phone calls I got to take, and I'm actually using my work phone over here to do this video. So give you guys another close-up look at this guy. All of these edges you can clean up with an X-Acto knife. All your edges with an X-Acto knife. I'm going to show you guys real quickly before I wrap this guy up. So take a nice X-Acto knife. Let's look at this border right in particular. See how the stip right up to it? With the X-Acto knife, I went and took that edge right off. Just clean that up. Border becomes a little bit more defined, And that's one of the little tips that I use, one of the little tricks that I use to make sure that the borders that I work hard, straight and even depth and all of that stuff come out clean as possible. So I hope this video was useful for you guys. Check my Instagram at Dave Mods Customs and at Gripology by DMC for the finished pictures of this gun. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Dave Mods, Gun Fu, I'm out. Peace.